Attraction and chemistry get his attention, but it's not what makes him fall in love or stay, not what makes him open up, not what makes him feel like he can let down his guard, wholeheartedly choose you, not just in the moment, but for good. But there is one thing, something no one talks about, that pulls him in deeper than attraction, deeper than chemistry, even deeper than sex. If you've ever wondered why some women seem to have this effortless magnetic pull where men feel emotionally safe, open, and devoted, while others get stuck in surface level connection or situationships that never deepen, then this video is for you, because when you understand this, it changes everything about how men experience you and how they respond to you at their core. I know this isn't about playing it cool, being low maintenance, or avoiding deep conversations. It's something far more powerful, something that is wired into your nervous system that tells a man, you are safe with me. If you want to know what this is, and better yet, how to activate it in yourself, stay tuned, because I'm about to show you in my video today. Have you ever been around someone who makes you feel instantly safe and understood? Or do you remember a moment when you felt someone truly got you, heart and soul, without you needing to explain everything? Well, what if you could create that kind of magic and magnetism in your relationship, starting with yourself? Today, I'm talking about emotional attunement, and it's one of those greatest gifts you can give yourself, your family, your friends, and especially the men in your life. And it's not about manipulating anyone. Instead, it's about being so in tune with your own feelings that you can connect with someone else in a way they've never experienced before. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine two tuning forks. When you strike one, the other one starts to vibrate at the same frequency, naturally reconnecting with the sound. That's what emotional attunement is. Two people's emotional frequencies lining up so seamlessly that it feels like you're on the exact same wavelength. According to neuroscience, when two people sync up this way, their nervous systems align, heart rates match, breathing slows together, and that bonding hormone, oxytocin, kicks in, creating a sense of safety and a sense of trust. But it all starts with your own sense of attunement, noticing when you're tense or anxious and gently bringing yourself back to calm. From this place, you can truly sense and respond to someone else's emotions without losing your own grounding. Imagine how this transforms relationships. You're not just hearing the other person's words, you're hearing the pauses, sensing the tone, and feeling the unspoken emotions. It's that slight softening in your face when they open up, or the intuitive sense of when to simply listen. Attunement is what makes someone feel profoundly seen. It's a quiet, magnetic presence that stands out in a noisy world. And once you experience that depth of connection with yourself and with someone else, it's impossible to go back to anything less. So if this stance creates a desire from you to learn how to go into deepening that, in this video, I'm sharing 7 tiny practices that can get you to attune with yourself, attune with a man, and beyond that, create that feeling naturally when someone feels, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So the first practice is regulate your own nervous system to set the emotional tone. It's impossible to attune to somebody else if you're not tuning with yourself. It's impossible to really grasp what somebody wants and needs if your nervous system is firing up in a way where you're misreading signals because you're dysregulated. So the one quick way that I'll share today, there's many, to start regulating this more consistently is to really pay attention to your breathing. And I'm going to share with you a breathing pattern that will be especially helpful in dating, especially helpful when you feel agitated, when your nervous system feels anxious. And that is inhale to the count of 4 through your nose, hold for 7 seconds without breathing, and exhale to the count of 8. You might do more than 1 repetition, maybe you do 3 or 4 or 5, but if you do this, your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of fight or flight, is going to kick in. When you feel more present, when you feel centered, then you can really start paying attention to somebody else because you're aware of what's happening inside. The second time you practice that can help you to start attuning to him is before you even focus on him, feel into the room. That means that when you enter the room where the person in question is, I need you to take a deep breath before speaking, and I want you to do what's called a temperature check. Temperature check is gauge by observing what's around you, what the energy of the room, the space feels like, how what you bring to the table is resonating. There's a frontier between you and the room. And I know this sounds a little abstract, but just bear with me for a moment. If you are already regulated internally and you enter the room and before you connect with them, you start gauging what's happening around you. You center your mind and your heart in the present moment. And before you speak, you take a deep breath. That's going to massively impact what's happening. Instead of being reactive, instead of trying to jump to conclusions, you'll come off as far more grounded, because you will be. Now, the third practice, and this is something that happens when you are in connection with this man. When you're connecting with him, your mind is going to start taking over at times. And instead of letting your mind run wild and stories and projections and fears, doubts running the show, I want you to get a sense of how you are feeling. So ask yourself 2 questions. What sensations am I feeling? It could be something very tactile, how you're standing, how you're sitting, the temperature of the room. You really start putting your attention into things that are present. And the second question is, what is my heart feeling right now? Because one of the most common experiences when you're connecting with someone is that you get lost in the conversation. You get projected into a state that is not necessarily one of awareness. So when you are asking this question constantly, bringing it back to the present moment, what am I feeling? And you can notice circles of emotions taking place inside your heart, you'll be able to act far more powerfully from a definition of, I'm experiencing shame, I'm experiencing anxiety, I'm experiencing joy, I'm experiencing gratitude, I'm experiencing jealousy. Whatever you are processing in that moment, if you are clear about the resonance and vibration, you will be so much more empowered to do something about it, to ask for what you want, to express something different in your face. There is something very powerful that happens when you're connecting with a guy and you have the courage, which is one of the most courageous things you can do and be, which is being vulnerable. When you're able to be 1% more vulnerable than you regularly feel comfortable with, when you take that extra risk and share that extra emotion, that extra phrase, that extra story that puts you into a place, a container of truth, when your emotions are more connected to your chest because you're deepening, leaning into vulnerability, that creates a very specific resonance that with the right person, that's why I'm saying do 1%, not 50% more vulnerable. If you're being present, you can see him get activated. You can feel how his heart is opening, deepening, sensing, gauging, showing more presence, showing more support, showing more kindness. And if he doesn't do that, if he shows more disdain, if he shows a risky behavior, if he closes off, then no need to continue sharing in that moment. You can pause, you can reevaluate, you can ask for something else. But when you want to create that depth of connection and bonding that I'm talking about, vulnerability is key. In the scheme of doing a little bit at a time is the safest thing you can do with someone. Now, before I share my last 3 practices to continue deepening into attunement for yourself and somebody else, if you're a single woman watching this, I'd be willing to bet you're not aware of the root cause, the blind spot that's keeping you single. So what I've done is, after working with women for 14 years and helping them find the love of their lives, even when for many years, sometimes decades, they haven't found it, I've put together those learnings into a simple framework that you can take advantage of. If you want to participate in this quiz, all you have to do is go to the first link in the description. You're going to see a page that looks like this, answer a few simple questions, and within 60 seconds, you have 2 things. The answer to the elusive question, why you're still single, and a custom report delivered to your inbox that's going to share the number 1 thing you can do based on your specific blind spot to attract the guy you want in a fraction of time. 5th practice, and this is one of the most powerful things you can do with a man, is let silence and space work for you. there's going to be this feeling and sense of, I need to interject, I need to prod a little more. When he is in this space of connecting with you and sharing, he is going to take a while sometimes to express himself. And when you replace the feeling of the uncomfortable silence with words and with prods or with a joke, if you actually let that simmer and you replace the doing, meaning the speaking, with being, you open your heart, you gauge what's happening inside of him. You take a deep breath and you take him into your heart. You allow that magical moment of him coming up with conclusions, ideas, softening. You give space to that and a bit more space, and you show presence. You will be magically surprised at how much more depth comes out of him and how much more seen and felt and understood and not judged he feels by you, because it is very rare that someone has given him that depth of presence. When you can do that, when you can simmer your own emotions of, I want to know more, and every now and then, of course, it's okay to prod, but the more you fine-tune yourself to him, the more you'll understand that the silence you create is going to be your greatest ally in revealing parts of him that he would have never revealed if you interjected, or if your anxiety or maybe slight sense of he needs to be saying something got in the way. Practice number 6, resist the urge to perform. I'm saying you're every now and then going to catch yourself witnessing yourself, and when you're witnessing yourself, you're not present. You're in the evaluation mode of, am I saying it right? Does he think I'm smart? Does he think I'm cute? What is he thinking right now? When you're in that space, you're not in your full self. You're in this evaluative mind space that is not conducive to this attunement. I would like for you to lose yourself in the conversation, lose yourself in the moment, be so much in uptime that your thoughts, your feelings, your heart are experienced and then expressed, and not necessarily just with words, with your tone of voice, with your facial expression, with the openness of your body, with the pace of your breathing. When you notice, I'm saying something that sounds smart, but it's not really what I want to be saying, or you notice that you're judging yourself for asking the question, what is he thinking of me? That is your cue that you need to come back to a state where there's more presence and less analytics going on in your mind. Because with the presence, you'll be able to gauge so much more and be able to reflect in the moment, because you're so present, things that will surprise you. Practice number 7, let your uniqueness shine. You are one of a kind. You are different. You are quirky. You are you. And when you commit to being a fuller expression of you, less guards, less filters, less self-judgment, when you understand that he is seeking for your inner fire, he's seeking your uniqueness, he's seeking your presence, he's seeking your depth, and you allow yourself to be more of you, here's what's going to happen. The right guy is going to identify you far more quickly and want to move things forward, even though you can pace yourself. The wrong guy, the guy that's not good for you, also will more quickly self-identify, this is not what I want. And then you don't have to waste dates being the vanilla version of you that had he fully seen you, he would have gone all in or kicked himself out of the equation, but not taking you in limbo and wasted time indefinitely. Now, if you find this helpful, useful, and insightful, it means the world to me, because this is the only way I can grow and reach more women. If you click like and subscribe, share something with me in a comment. What did you find valuable or useful? And if you want to continue learning how you can attract the guy you want without the need for gimmicks, manipulation, games, or stupid techniques, make sure to watch the next video right here.